1460 WVOX.
Stay tuned now for the Racing for Heroes radio show with host Brett Morash on 1460 WVOX.
All right, Racing for Heroes radio. It is March 26th. We are here on WVOX, 1460 on your AM dial and streaming worldwide at WVOX.com. And today's show, it's going to be record temperature today, so they're telling me, and I've shifted to the Racing for Heroes summer uniform, which means the T-shirt instead of the hoodie, but still the colors are the same, and we're glad to be here. So, but our first guest we're going to have today is Jereme D. Jereme is the CEO and founder of Axios Investigations, and he is basically a private investigator. But prior to that, he was in the U.S. Army Rangers, serving all around the globe, doing just amazing things, and we're going to talk about that. But I actually have a little bit of a theme song to introduce Jereme, so Alex, make it happen. Listen, if I even have a private eye on the show, I gotta play at least a little Magnum
Oh my
PI.
god, dude, that is hilarious.
I'm there for you, Jereme. So.
Oh man, that's the show, man. Back in the day, Tom Selleck, he's got the Lambo, dude. That's like I had like the poster. Everybody got it at the book sales.
Everyone got that. It was like a 304 Ferrari or something like that, I think was the.
Yeah,
was the
Ferrari. Yeah, it was crazy, man. It was the best show. That you like. That's what you saved up like all your summer allowance for, was for like the poster of like that vehicle of Tom Selleck and
Right.
Heather Locklear, the whole nine. That was back in the day.
Absolutely.
That was OG style.
Well,
yeah.
as you know, like they rebooted the show as well. I mean, frankly, I would have gone with maybe a little different, where he should have been an Army Ranger instead of a SEAL. But
of course.
you Army Rangers, I guess, end up outside of Fayetteville. And those guys get out in Hawaii, so someone's doing it right, and I'm not going to say which one.
Well, we say the SEALs got a better marketing platform than the Army guys.
They do.
They say the Army does the job, the SEALs get the marketing rights. So generally how it works.
That's right. Well, they don't really, except for like Point Du Hoc, I don't think that they, or the Raid. Right. The Raid is the Rangers movie, I think. That's
right. Yes.
But most of them are like Navy SEAL movies, and they're all goofy and stuff like that.
Yeah. And the special operations guys, the soft guys, got the 12 strong. So I mean, we're getting there. We're making headway.
Right.
We're getting in there.
But when I think Navy SEAL movies, I always think the Charlie Sheen movie from like the 80s. Like it's like super lame.
Horrible. Yes. Yeah. He's like, Ghost, you got me covered. You got me on the Ghost Tower. Like that's the worst. It's like you just sitting there going, oh my god, the cheesiest call signs ever. It's like the worst.
That's amazing. Amazing. All right, so Jereme, let's talk about though the military. So you started out in the Army, right? And if I'm not mistaken, you can't go in the Rangers right away, right? So what did you do first?
So I was stationed in Hawaii. I did my pre-rip there, waited for a slot, got my slot. Then after I did my pre-rip, I did RIP. Well, I think you call it RASTA now. So yeah, and then your Ranger School, and then after my first tour of duty there, I got assigned to 3rd Battalion, 75th, and then I did a few years there, and then I went in.
What years?
Finished that.
What years were you in Rangers, by the way?
So at the mid of '94 to just about '97, just right in there in that line. So a few years, and then we did. Then basically I just got into. Then I went to Korea after that.
Gotcha.
Spent a
second ID.
That's right, and at the Hovey area, Camp Hovey, and then essentially I got out, and then there it is. There it is, my story in life in a nutshell.
There you go.
In the military, it was, I did my time and my crime, and I was done. That's pretty much how it worked.
That's right. We're past statute of limitations on anything of that.
Yeah, that's right.
But no, actually, and I think I told you when we talked before the show is that one of the smartest guys I've ever met, Major Sid Brookshire, God rest his soul, got killed in Iraq. He was the XO of 3rd Battalion, 75th Rangers. And, I will tell you that my ability as a naval planner was directly attributable to how smart Sid was teaching me. And because I didn't know anything about 5-paragraph op orders or anything, mission planning and all that sort of stuff, like meant nothing to me before going to the War College. And Sid was just kind. But anyway, I'm just putting the good stuff out in the universe for Sid, and but he was just the man, and I really appreciate what you guys do. And really, I think though with the Rangers though, people don't realize that is the Army's direct action group.
That's correct. Yeah, the direct action. We're definitely direct action. The door kickers. We kick the doors down, and the special operations wins hearts and minds. That's generally how it works. So,
and I think that if you look at what happened really with the Bin Laden raid, while the SEAL teams were obviously the ones that went in and did the actual direct action,
that's right.
The Army Rangers and I think a couple military working dogs actually provided the security around the perimeter.
That's correct.
No,
that's correct. So see, Rangers they specialize in generally like 3 taskings. The first one is direct action. Then you have sort of counterterrorism and reconnaissance is the third. So basically, those are generally the 3 sort of mission operationals for the Ranger unit. So if it falls within those sort of categories, that's generally what we do. And of course, as you mentioned, security for like a special raid or something like that.
Yeah, like what happened again there. Just real quick, I got Joe Scarborough. He's sending me a note that it was a Ferrari 308. So I want to put that out there. And then Pete Guthrie's out there saying it was SEAL Team 6.
SEAL Team 6, that's right. They were the ones that, that's right.
And it sounds like every single one of them was the trigger puller, if I'm not mistaken, based on the number of books.
That's apparently, yeah. Osama must have gotten about a ton of rounds in there, apparently.
Listen, God bless him, man.
By the time the SEALs got done with them, good Lord,
No, listen, and that's a job I never would want to have, so God bless those guys. But so you transitioned out of the military, and then how did you get into private investigations?
So I had kind of keep it simple. Many times over, we get out, we have no clue what we're going to do. We've been all about mission, mission operations, mission. Everything's just all about what the Army wants to do. That's what we're trained to do. It's what they tell us, we do it. No questions asked in most cases. And essentially, I got out. I had no clue what I was going to do. At the time I got out, there was like no jobs. It was terrible. Either I go contract work, which I did not want because my wife was like, no, you're not doing that, and I'm not going to deal with you being gone more and out more, and it just wasn't going to happen. I was like thinking maybe goes to yes, and then something else, and then anyway, I just worked odd jobs for a while, probably like many of the guys that get out, they just work odd jobs. Different. I did, some side work. I worked for like a garden. I did a chicken plant for a while. I mean, I just did everything and anything to pay the bills. And then I stumbled on a buddy of mine who had a PI firm, and he's like, "Hey, man," he's like, "I need a guy, and I need a good guy." And he's like, "I know you," and he's like, "Let me bring you on into the fold." So I went in there with the idea of just having no clue what to do.
Like
completely.
But you saw Magnum PI, so you know.
It's just, you just don't know what to expect.
But you saw Magnum PI, so you know what it could look like, though, and that's important.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, that's right. I had a sort of an understanding of what it could look like, and then at which point it was really cool. It was really fun. It was a lot. It was very much like some of the we did infiltration stuff, which was really fun. You get in there, you play a role, you do a lot of infiltrating. It's kind of you know what I mean. And it's like you play roles and do a lot of I'd say tradecraft, but you do a lot of that tradecraft. And he was a great mentor, and he taught me a lot. And I got in there, and we did a lot of great work for a long time. He decided to pursue other ventures, and at that point left a little bit of a hole for me, and I was like, well, crap, I love this thing. I'm not going to stop.
Yeah.
So at which point I went ahead and started my own company with
Axios, right?
My partner. Yeah, Axios, right. And Axios is interesting because Axios is it's literally a Christian military term because a lot of people are like, why'd you name it Axios? Well, it actually has a duality. I am more faith-based now than I was years ago. Let's just say that. And so I felt like Axios was great because it is a warrior and a warrior code as well as a Christian code, because in the church they use the term Axios means we are worthy, as well as in the military, meaning when they received ancient Romans or Greeks, they would receive awards, and they would say some kind of wording, but Axios would be a part of that wording, meaning I am worthy to receive that award. So it has a duality, it has a good combination. I thought it was a great name for a company in PI, and it just sort of embodies what we're about and what I'm about. So
yeah, and I think that's important, right? Because I think that when people think private investigation, they don't always think of people who are a morally sound individual, right?
They don't. No, they don't. And there is a gray area. There's a gray area that so the coding or the department that covers private investigations, there's a lot of SOPs that you have to abide by. There are some gray area work that you can do to get the job done, as long as it's done legitimately. I try to deal with people with integrity. And I try to be forthcoming what I can and cannot do. I don't overpromise and underdeliver. I think all our people in our company do the same thing. And you're right. They get this sort of seedy Chinatown, Jack Nicholson, smoky room with I guess it's the fedora, he's sitting in there. That's that mentality, And I love Chinatown. It's a great movie, but that's not what it is. It's more sophisticated now. I have drones. I have a K9 team. I have, a lot of military investigators that I tend to hire guys that were prior duty, either CAV or special operations, or some kind of group or some kind of military affiliation, because I know what it was like getting out of the military and having no goal, no idea, no whatever. And I'm like, rather than doing contract work, which contract work is starting to kind of fade now because they're starting to draw down, but either way. But, and I think a lot of guys just don't want to deal with that anymore. They're kind of tired of it. So I try to provide an area or an avenue for guys to say, okay, look, it's pretty exciting. I mean, we do a lot of crazy stuff. Like, I've low crawled through hundreds of yards of, farmland to get the shot, and I mean,
nice.
It's like, there's a lot of things that we've done. It's very similar, and it's a lot of action packed. And a quick story, it was really funny, is like one of our guys that was also he was in group. He basically he low crawled from it had to be about 200 yards. I mean, literally it had to be 200 yards. And he low crawled through this farmland of this property owner, but it basically through the legal area of the property. Yeah. And at which point the dogs and the ATVs, the neighbors were running, driving by him, and he was like in his ghillie suit, and he was like literally just slowly crawling, and it was hilarious. And I get these random texts, 50, either 10 meters out, 5 meters out, 2 meters out. And I'll be laughing because I'm like, what in the hell is going on? Excuse my language. I'm like, what in the hell is going on? And so finally, after
I don't think they beat you,
told me
so
what
I think
happened,
we're good.
and I was like, oh my God, dude, that's hilarious. So, yeah, it was funny. We had a good time. It can be action-packed, and sometimes it's sitting and staring at somebody for 5 hours at a time. That can also be it.
All right. Well, Jeremy, last question, because we got to go to our next guest. But if someone wants to learn a little more of Axios, where do I go, and how do I get in touch with you?
So we have Axios InvestigationsFirm. You just look us up. And just a quick thing, I was talking about the military segue and a lot of that. VETS is a program that we have just now introduced for Veterans Entrepreneur Training Seminar. That's also on our page.
Oh, it's coming up.
I just want to bring that up, because we're trying to boost entrepreneurialism in the veteran world. And we're also trying to bring more attention to veterans who want to start businesses. So see that on our homepage. It's AxiosInvestigationsFirm.com, and you'll see the VETS logo. There's an Eventbrite page. It's April 24th. Yep. And
it's on your Facebook page.
Say again,
it's
sir?
on your Facebook page, and
That's right.
Our chairman of our board for Racing for Heroes, Mike Evok, who is a serial entrepreneur, frankly, is going to be on the show as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, and I appreciate the opportunity to discuss with you. This is a big honor for me, and I know, I know this is just something that's great for my company, and I'm so thankful for giving us the opportunity to talk about it. But yeah, check us out, like I said, and if you're looking for work or looking for whatever, and you have a background, just in military background, please just reach out to us. You can send us our email.
Awesome.
It's right there at the top of the homepage, and
Awesome.
I'm always looking for guys to assist us in our work.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Jeremy. We're super happy to have had you on, and I'll try giving you a call a little later today. So thanks so much,
Yes,
buddy.
sir.
All
Thank you,
right.
sir.
And
Bye-bye.
so we're going to shift to our next guest. Back to racing, as we're going to discuss here in a little bit. We're going to have on Jim Long Jr., who's a racing promoter and is heading up the Steel Block Bandits Dirt Late Model Challenge, which is going to help support RFH as well. But before we bring Jim on, if I'm going to have a theme song for Jeremy, I got to have a theme song for Jim. And so let it rip.
Oh, rapid roll that stock car boy, eat too much to believe. You know we always gotta.
All right, Jim, you there?
Yes, sir.
I thought I'd play a little Rapid Roy by Jim Croce. One of
There you go. That's an old one there.
That-
Oldie but a goodie.
That is. Well, I was a little kid when he passed away, unfortunately. In fact, I had to explain to my kids the other day the whole rock and roll stars seem to die in aircraft accidents discussion the other day when we were talking about Jim Croce. So I was thinking about you.
I got you. Well, at least you didn't play Bad Leroy Brown.
Oh, which another one. And in fact, Alex, the sound engineer, I was singing that to him earlier in the studio. So as you probably know, in the Navy, karaoke is kind of a big thing for us. So I try to have a range out there. So.
I got you.
But Jim, you were before we talk about Steel Block Bandits. You have some background in the military, right?
Yes, sir. I was in the Army. Yes, sir.
And what did you do in the Army? What was your specialty?
I was a 98 Golf, which is a voice signal interceptor during war times. That's what I was a Russian linguist. I went through DLI, Presidio Monterey there.
Oh, nice.
And I went through basic and intermediate Russian courses, and of course went to Goodfellow Air Force Base down in San Angelo,
Sure.
Texas, for transcribers course, and then up to Fort Devens in Boston, Mass, for
Yeah.
electronic warfare equipment training, and then I went to my first duty station was in Nuremberg, Germany. I was attached to the 2nd ACR. We were the eyes and ears of the regiment.
Oh, sure.
And so yeah, we I'd been in the military 26 months before I ever got to my first duty
Oh,
station.
boy.
So they learned me a lot.
That's awesome. Actually, I grew up near Fort Devens as a kid. I remember when they
Okay.
shut the base down. I mean, then as a 2nd ACR, I mean, those were the armored cavalry regiments back then were like first to die as the Soviets were going across the border. I mean, that was the plan.
Yeah, we didn't like that part of it. At least we were the eyes and ears. We were kind of the MI weenies, as they called us. But yeah, the 2nd ACR and the 11th ACR up there in Fulda, they
The Fulda Gap,
always
yeah.
argued about who's going to kill the most people and all that kind of stuff. So they were bad to the bone, no doubt.
No, it was. I remember as a kid, the 11th ACR. I had a friend who went up there, and they talked about the Fulda Gap all the time. It's in like Tom Clancy movies and books and stuff like that. So I think that's like really cool. And but being a Russian linguist, I know it kind of dates you a little bit, but man, they're looking for him again today.
Yeah, I heard that, and but I'm out. I'm too old. I'm too old.
But you were at least in the M16 Army, not like the M1 Grand Army or something crazy like that.
Correct.
So yeah, you're not that old, Jim. But yeah. So and then, how did you get into racing promotion? How did that work?
Well, I grew up racing. My dad raced for 30 years locally around the Fayetteville, Carolinas area, and it's always been in my blood. And funny deal, when I got out of the military, I was at Hunter Army Airfield there in Savannah when I got out, and
Yeah, third ID's out of there. Yeah.
stuck around there for a while, and then moved over to western part of North Carolina, Denver, North Carolina.
Okay.
Lincolnton and Denver. And anyway, got a job with a race team over there. Just kind of talked my way into it. Said, hey, they were coming to Rockingham to race, and I knew some people back in the area. And I was with a rookie driver, Tim Fedowa, who now is a spotter for Kevin Harvick.
Oh wow.
But Tim was a rookie that year, and I just started getting money for him, calling different folks, getting Chamber of Commerce books in the areas, the towns they were going to race in, and really was pretty good at it. And so got into sponsorship stuff with the NASCAR teams, and then doing PR and marketing, and
my dad passed away in '95, and I ended up moving back to Fayetteville. And I drove some. I've owned cars. I've had my own racing series before with the modifieds. And I was the promoter at Fayetteville Motor Speedway for 6 years, and we stepped away. December was a year ago, just to try to take care of my wife.
Sure.
We've been battling cancer for her about 26 months now, and still in that fight. So we just didn't think that was, priorities change a little bit when you're going through stuff like that. So we got out of the racing business and had this opportunity. I still promoted a couple of races last year, World Outlaw Show and another big steel block race. And
I like Outlaws.
Had an opportunity to start a series, and we're going to run 8 to 10 races this year. So that's kind of where we are.
And that's the Steel Block Bandits Dirt Late Model Challenge, right? Is what's coming up?
Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
where is that going to be? What tracks are we looking at?
So we're actually going to be in 5 different states.
Wow.
Our first race is in a couple of weeks, April 17th. It's Smoky Mountain Speedway in Maryville, Tennessee. And then we'll come to 311 Speedway there above Greensboro there in North Carolina. And so Halifax Motor Speedway up there near the Virginia line.
Oh, sure.
Then we'll have 2 races at Charlotte, the dirt track there at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Oh, neat.
And then we'll be back in South Carolina, Lakeview, South Carolina in August, Livonia, Georgia in September, and then we'll finish out the season in October at
Well, that's great.
Cherokee Speedway there in Gaffney, South Carolina.
And those are late models, right? That's what they're racing for this?
Yeah, they are late models. They're not super late models. They're what they call, for lack of a better term, we don't use the term limited. I haven't used that for years, but in other parts of the country they call them limited late models. Steel blocks, just the cars and suspension is pretty much the same as a full-blown super late model. Just the engines are maximum 365 cubic inches versus 415, 430s, 450s, that kind of stuff. So,
because I think Mike,
very good quality racers and cars, and it's these guys put on a great show.
Mike Evok has a car. I think it's like an 800 horsepower engine. I mean, it's a little less than that, right?
Yeah, his car, he does have a limited car.
He's
be running the steel block late model. He may have a super late model engine as well, but he's going to be running some of our races.
Oh, good, yeah, because I'm hoping the 773 car will be out there doing its thing. So that's amazing. So kind of continuing though about that, like, what has been your favorite race of all time though that you worked in?
I'm not sure. I've had so many of them over the years. Just been involved in a lot of neat stuff. Very fortunate to be involved with some really cool people. So I don't know that I could really squeeze it into one.
Not a most memorable.
A lot of good times over the years.
Or most memorable race.
Well, I don't know. I probably my most memorable was one I didn't win. I was leading a big race at Fayetteville Motor Speedway one year. The Lucas Oil Racing Series was there.
Oh, wow.
So they had a absolutely huge crowd, and I was leading the open wheel modified portion of that race. And,
oh, neat.
Under caution, the fuel pump went out.
Of course it did.
Under caution, I coasted to a stop and didn't win the race. So that was probably the one that stings that I remember the most.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Because our buddy Adam Benaway was racing there. They had that enduro race a couple of weeks back, and he blew a tire like toward the very end of the race and kind of limped in and wasn't able to swap it out in time to get back on. So tough stuff. That's tough stuff.
Yeah, it's sometimes the ones that you don't win that you lose. Those are the ones that stick with you longer than some of the ones you win.
Oh yeah, for sure. And so, if anyone is interested though in kind of following the race and like what's coming up next, where do I go? What do I look for?
Yeah, on Facebook, we just have a Facebook page up right now. We've got an Instagram page coming up, but on Facebook is the best way to catch up information right now. Is Steel Block Bandits Dirt Late Model Challenge. We do have a website that's coming online here in the next week. That'll be at banditsdirt.com.
Banditsdirt.com, okay.
Yep, banditsdirt.com. That'll be coming online here within the next week.
Oh, good.
And
okay.
they'll be able to get the schedule and rules and all that kind of stuff, from there. But right now, that Facebook page is the best way to get some info.
Outstanding. Yeah, because we'll be sure to post all that on our website too as we get a little closer to go time for you guys.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's great.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, and so let me ask you another question. So if and because we're kind of coming into the last minute here, if someone does want to get involved with these races, is it easy for them to sign up? I mean, like besides having a car, what do they need to do?
No, I think this isn't for the faint of heart. This isn't an entry level division. This is if somebody has racing experience, definitely it's something they could get involved in. But it's not for somebody that's just getting started. I mean, these guys are the best of the best in their field, and they would probably need to come up through some other entry level divisions. We have a lot of guys that come out of the open wheel modified ranks.
Sure.
The modifieds give them a really good feel for car control and throttle control and that kind of stuff, and so that's a good feeder division. But our limited late models, some of these guys go on to run super late model. Some are just content to run, locally with the limited late models because the supers, you have to travel. They don't run them very much locally. It's usually a traveling series, so a lot of the guys are content to do that. And so we do have some guys, Dustin Mitchell and Willie Milliken and some others,
Sure.
Ben Watkins, that they run both. They run supers and limited.
Gotcha.
So,
Well, Jim, thanks. Listen, I'm so sorry, but we're literally at the end of the show before they play
Yes,
the hook music here. But listen, I want to thank you for being on there, and obviously, I wish you and your wife the best, and I hope her recovery continues.
yes, sir. We're all good. I appreciate it. Thanks for having us on today.
All right, and for Race of Heroes fans, that's the end of our show. We will see you again next week. Looking forward to the future. Take care, and God bless.
Yes, sir. Thank you.